Now that's an eye-catching display, and that's important because everywhere you look, you see stores vying for the customer's attention. Retailers use displays to create impact, generate enthusiasm, and induce customers to buy. Nowhere is this more noticeable than in apparel merchandising of men's, women's, and children's fashions. The appealing display of the product is an extremely important element of the sale. Fashion retailing is a competitive business, and we have to be smart, aggressive merchandisers to succeed against the tough competition that you see in your market every day. You have a dramatic impact on the success of that fashion merchandising effort at Sears. There are a few simple things you can do to ensure that your fashion area looks attractive for your customers every day. This video covers 5 key aspects of fashion merchandising. We'll see what they are, how to use them, and discuss the simple things that you can do to keep them working effectively in your store. We'll start by discussing the general concepts of issue merchandising and color merchandising. Then we'll focus in on the back walls, the strike zones, and the fashion expression areas of the sales floor. Basically, issue merchandising is the grouping of like goods together on the sales floor. It's a collection of merchandise that is related in some way. For example, it could be a product-related issue, such as men's slacks. The issue might be related by style, such as two-piece jacket dresses. It might be related by fabric, such as men's flannel shirts, or fleece robes in Division 38. Or it could be related by brands, such as our Gulagong activewear. All of these are examples of merchandising issues. In some cases, issue merchandising also means putting together products that work well together, and that are or can be sold together. This would include the coordinate and assortment merchandise found in our Stephanie and Teague's branded collections. Men's hats, scarves, and gloves, on the other hand, are good examples of non-branded assortment merchandising. Whatever the issue, garments usually are organized in the general to the specific, and the typical issue normally follows a pattern running from silhouette to style to color, and then finally to size. Color merchandising is exactly what the name implies, the grouping of items together by color. These can be either similar products, a traditional example of which is sweaters, or they can be products that would work well together, such as a women's coordinate group that includes pants, skirts, and tops. Notice that color merchandising includes color families and combinations, not just solid colors. Since most issues come in more than one color, color merchandising simply is a more specialized form of issue merchandising. There's a basic form of color merchandising. It's called color blocking. Products are displayed in a single color group, like this quad rack, in cubes, on shelves, in bins, or on walls. To maximize impact, color blocking is usually used on items with lots of tonnage. Color merchandising racks try to keep color families, such as pastels versus brights and similar colorations, together if possible. The importance of the back walls cannot be overstated. They are integral elements of each department that identify an area by making a strong visual impression on the customer. In essence, back walls define the area, make a dramatic statement about the product, and convey the message that Sears is definitely in the business of selling that product. Back walls should create a strong visual interest which provides the primary motivation that draws customers off the main aisles into and throughout the department. Back walls provide the backdrop for all other merchandising techniques and are examples of issue merchandising at its best. Our competition usually has smaller, narrower stores with 3 walls close together. We only have 1 wall per department, so it has got to be the best it can be. Since dominance of product is the key objective of every back wall display, you want to limit the number of issues so the fashion message is clear. The height of merchandise on wall displays is critical as well. You want to merchandise as high as possible for visibility, yet still keep the products accessible to the customer. Also, the top of the merchandise on the uppermost row should be even. Long runs of product should be enhanced with display breaks, which are used to highlight the merchandise. The inclusion of signs, graphics, mannequins, and other elements in these breaks add impact to the back wall. Spotlights are frequently used to draw attention to the individual elements of wall displays. Be sure they're focused on the right merchandise. Most back wall displays are continually changing. As new items arrive in your department, they should go onto the back wall. The old goods should come off the wall and onto the immediately adjacent racks. The racks are then constantly consolidated according to color and issue. A specific guidance for your back wall treatments is given in Fashion Expressions. A strike zone is a focal point for an entire shop. It generates interest by creating a break on the sales floor from the rows of space-saver racks. Strike zones are designed for one of two purposes. First, there are the hot issues, normally your most high-fashion merchandise that will remain in place as long as your marketplace supports it, such as this presentation of Levi's 501s. The other type of strike zone is a permanent location for a high-profile Sears national brand, such as Stephanie. The strike zones are not meant for tonnage. Instead, they're designed for impact, for the fashion statement of a strong, dominant issue. The merchandise is normally displayed on freestanding fixtures or walls containing upright panels for dominant signing. The height and width of these panels interrupts the pattern of a well-gridded department, setting the area apart. Contrasting carpeting also helps to define the strike zone area and further set it apart. The addition of racks or glass cubes on the carpet areas helps to create a complete shop within the strike zone. Other fixtures and equipment can then vary according to the merchandise arrangement policy recommendations for the specific merchandise. Strike zones employ overhead signing for additional impact and use spotlights to help bring color and merchandise alive. Fashion Expressions is a monthly publication that addresses the appropriate and fashionable use of mannequins and display elements to highlight those issues that are most important to each department. These areas create focal points that show the merchandise to its best advantage, and Fashion Expressions helps you to work with the display department to dress them properly. It provides photos of recommended main aisle and back wall mannequin presentation treatments that you should implement, and it also shows photos of mannequin alternatives. When implementing Fashion Expressions, remember that these displays should always be accessorized for maximum impact. Accessorizing should encourage customers to shop, not deter them from shopping. Thus, it's most effective when done simply and moderately. Mannequin displays should always be signed and should be updated as new merchandise is received to keep them looking timely and fresh. In addition to detailing mannequin treatments, Fashion Expressions illustrates how to accentuate and work with your end caps and also wall displays. Copies of Fashion Expressions are available through the display department or from your sales manager. Regardless of whether products are issue merchandised or color merchandised, whether they're on the back wall, cubed, and strike zones, or on grid racks, there are three techniques that you should always implement to reinforce the overall merchandising effort. The first of these is layering. Layering is the combining of 2 or 3 items on a single hanger to create outfits that give customers an idea of how the merchandise can be worn. Layering demonstrates the versatility of garments. It quickly suggests mix and match possibilities, and it also encourages add-on sales. Layering is most frequently used when issue merchandising, and it can be done on any fixture or display element. When done on a column with a broad shoulder wardrobe hanger, a complete outfit may be shown. It very visibly highlights surrounding merchandise. When done on space saver racks, layering is used on the first slot of the waterfall facing the main aisle. A second technique is known as blocking. Blocking ensures that your shelves are full, neat, and ready for business. To block merchandise, simply pull the goods forward on hooks or trays so they look as full as possible. It's a simple technique, but one that makes well-shopped displays look neat and attractive. The final technique is known as feathering. The opposite of blocking, feathering helps give the impression that the racks aren't too full of merchandise. Racks that are too full may discourage the customer and may imply that the product is of inferior quality. To feather a rack, simply put your fingers between the hangers and spread them out evenly on the arm. This not only makes things look less crowded, but it also prevents garments from being jammed so closely together that they don't hang smoothly or properly and are difficult to remove from the rack. Signing is extremely important to the merchandising effort. Signs help identify products, prices, or sizes. In the women's store, the role of signing on racks clearly establishes the primary size ranges by copy and coloration. In children's, line IDs more precisely inform the customer of specific size ranges. Signs also announce your promotional efforts, and they help communicate the feature story about specific products or lines. It's important that these signs are accurate and contain the right factual information about the product. Finally, they should be correct, which means displayed with the proper merchandise on the right rack and priced where appropriate. Because the merchandise in your department is continually changing, it's important that the signs constantly be checked to maintain these criteria and to keep them up to date. How does all this affect you? Simple. While headquarters sets up display and merchandising guidance according to the principles we've just discussed, the daily upkeep of the floor is essential, and that's an ongoing part of your job. For example, a customer may have returned the wrong item to a branded strike zone. They might have placed an incompatible color on a merchandise rack or replaced the wrong product in an issue merchandise display. Recognizing each problem, you can quickly correct it to bring the floor back to normal. And that'll not only make things more convenient for the customer, it will also help you sell more merchandise. Now, when you recognize problems early, you can fix them quickly to prevent them from getting out of hand. And that's important, because once displays get totally messed up, it takes a lot more time to straighten them out. And that's the kind of time you just don't have. You do have time, however, to do your part. And it's important to our mutual success in fashion merchandising at Sears. After all, exciting programs have been designed and implemented to capture the customer's attention and encourage them to make their apparel purchases at Sears. By understanding these 5 key merchandising concepts, issue merchandising, color merchandising, back wall, strike zones, and fashion expressions, and supporting them with the general techniques we discussed, you can help keep those programs working effectively, no matter which apparel department you're in. So make the time for simple housekeeping and tidy up the sales floor every day. Keep your department organized the way it's supposed to be, and together we can succeed in today's highly competitive fashion marketplace.